we're working on the drift build again, and something that I learnt recently. Because my 350Z is a track edition, it comes with this button that disables ABS and traction control. I've only got 2 weeks to the drift event and I can't even spin the tires yet. It only turns it off about 70%, so that's why it just has no luck. You can't do skids or anything like that. There's also a pin on the ECU for ABS. This means whenever you touch the brake, it cuts the accelerator out. So we're gonna bypass that and we're gonna set it up with a switch so I can just flick it into like drift mode. All we're gonna need is some generic cabling, a simple switch and a relay, along with some generic tools to solder and strip the wires. So we have to get to a sensor under here. So I'm just gonna have to pull all this apart. Alright, so this sensor here is what we're trying to get to. It's the yaw sensor. And what we're doing to delete this is to get back that 30% of traction control and completely disable it. But also when you're drifting, it allows you to go sideways without cutting power and engaging ABS. So this wire here is the one that provides the 12 volts of power to the sensor. This one here is, I'm just going to extend it a little bit with some random black wire, and then we're going to attach it to the switch. And then we're going to do the same with this one. Alright, so I've split the positive wire that goes to the yaw sensor, whatever you want to call it. I basically just reconnected it, but with a switch. So that's that sensor done. So now we can do skids, but the second we touch the brake, it's going to cut the accelerator and we're not going to be able to do anything. So to fix that, I'm going to wire in the relay and then run a cord from that, splice it into this, and then this will activate the relay, open that one so we can turn both of these on with a flick of a switch. So real quick, this is the configuration of the relay. So let me just quickly explain how the relay works. So I drew this diagram. It might help you, you might not understand what you're looking at. So as you can see, 85 goes up and that symbol indicates it's for a ground. 86 is your signal wire, so that goes up to the wire that we just created with the switch. So that basically indicates when the switch is on and off, which opens and closes the relay. Then what we have is 87 and 30, and that's basically just either side of this ECU wire. So whenever you flick the switch, it's going to connect that 30 and 87, and also works both ways. When you flip it the other way, it's going to disconnect that wire. Alright, so back down to the ECU loom. We want to cut that cord. Yeah, if you're following this as a tutorial, make sure to watch to the end. Trust me, trust me. So now we're going to extend them out. Alright, now we're going to wire these into the relay. Just keeping it super clean, crimping on some connectors so they slide on. Now I'm just going to create the wire for the ground of the relay, and then also the wire for the signal that goes up to the switch. That's that one done. So now I'm gonna set up this red cord here. I'm gonna run it through the dash as well, bring it out here, and then I'm gonna splice into that red wire. Just like that, we've soldered the joint together and we've spliced the relay into the switch. So now that we got everything wired up, we just want to make sure that we wired it correctly. So I'm going to go over everything and double check. So I plugged the ECU back in and I put tape over all the connections there. We will run this a bit nicer, but I'm just going to leave it like that till we know it's actually working. Then over here we've put the plug back on and I've taped up all the connections. So now all we have left is to mount the switch into the center console, and then we can go do skids. Pop this blank I don't know, switch out, and then we're gonna drill a hole that big so then we can mount the switch there. I just noticed the inside has like reinforcements too, so we're gonna have to pull that out so the switch can fit, and that hole needs to be a little bit bigger, so I'm just gonna go grab a step drill. That looks like it's big enough, we just need to clean out the inside now. So I got the interior back in, so I'm happy with that switch. Now just to go for a quick drive and test it to make sure it works. No lights, then we can flick the switch to off. Instantly VDC and slip turn on.
But that's the same if you click the button anyway, so let's go test it. Found a little private spot on the driveway. So that's with brake and it's still cutting out the accelerator. But it works if you don't touch the brake. So this is the part where I confess that we wired it up to disable the O2 sensor, not the actual wire that we need. So let's just fix that real quick.
Pin 101, which is that one there, 4 down from the middle on the inside row on the left. So that's the wire you're looking for. It's that blue one with an orange stripe on it. That's pin 101. So now what we're gonna do is splice it and attach it to the relay here.
We got pretty lucky, didn't do any damage, and I'm just gonna reuse the same leads from before and just quickly rectify the issue.
Got the ECU plugged back in, and then we got our 2 cables coming off into the relay. So obviously we've just fixed that one back up and got that one to loop back, so that's all gonna work, the O2 sensor that we messed up. Now we're gonna flick the switch and see what happens on the dash.
Yeah, same as before, let's go test it.
Alright, let's see if the brake can be touched while on the accelerator.